Hello chess fans, here is one way to win chess games quickly by using the chess tactics called double check with a mate at the end. E4, E5, knight comes out, bishop is out, then black prepares to castle, black castles, queen prepares for the double check tactic, king moves, knight attacks. Then here is the double check tactic. So the knight checks at f7 by capturing the pawn. King moves. Here is the double check. The knight will go to h6, check with the knight, and also check with the queen. So the only option for black is to move his king. He cannot cover two checks at the same time or capture the pieces that are checking. Can't do it because it's a double check. Okay, it's a pretty decent tactic. So now black, I'm gonna check the black king with double check right there. Check with the queen, check with the knight. King moves, and then we sacrifice our queen at g8. Black is forced to capture the queen with his rook, and then we checkmate right there. Beautiful. Beautiful, smoother check. The black king has nowhere to go. Here's another way to win in chess games quickly. We're gonna use the chess tactic called sure checkmate, a calculated checkmate. So that's the beginning. E4, E5, knight F3, D6, brings out the bishop, C4, get our knight being pinned, bring out the knight at C3, then move the pawn for our bishop support, and then here is the crucial move for the mate, for the checkmate. So knight moves there, then your opponent misses or do not see the checkmate and went for our queen as a sacrifice here, captured our queen. However, there is a sure checkmate right here. Checkmate in 1, 2 moves. There we go. The king's got nowhere to go. It's a sure checkmate. So here is one way to win in chess games is by having the material advantage. This chess tactic is called sacrifice. Starts with e4, e5, knight f3, then f6. Now here is the sacrifice. The knight will capture the pawn at e5 as a sacrifice. Then black accepts the capture of the knight. So okay, but then we will check the king and then check again. So black could either cover the check or move his king. So if he decides to cover, then we can win the rook, which is a bigger major piece, more points than the knight. So now we're winning by material advantage through sacrifice tactic. Alrighty. Hi, this is another way to win at chess games quickly by material advantage. We're gonna use the chess tactic called double attack, and in this case using a pawn double attack. e4, e6, knight c3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5. We push our pawn there as a trap, and now if black falls into the trap and captures the pawn, then here's the double attack by the queen pawn right there on d4, attacking both the bishop and knight. So the bishop retreats, and now we have a knight. So now we're leading by material. We have the material advantage. Hi, here's another way to win at chess games quickly by material advantage, and we are gonna use the chess tactic called removing the guard or defender. e4, e5, knight c3, bishop b4. So we start to attack the bishop. Black defends his bishop using his knight, but we're gonna attack the defender. We're gonna remove it. We're gonna capture the knight. So black makes a mistake there. So we capture the knight. Black recaptures the pawn. Then we capture the bishop. The defender is now gone. It's now removed. So now we are leading by material advantage. Here is another chess tactic to win chess games quickly by material advantage. This is the pin chess tactic. Start out with e4, e6 for black, knight comes out at c3, knight f6, so move the pawn at d3 to prepare the pin. Black's bishop comes out, and then that's where the pin is. We pin the knight, black's knight, on his queen, so that if black's knight moves, then his queen will be captured. So then moves a weak pawn move, and then we move the pawn there, which will lead to capture of the black knight on the next move. So now we captured the knight and we have a material advantage. Alrighty. Here is another way to win in chess games by material advantage using the chess tactic called fork. Begin with e4, a5, knight comes out, opponent's knight's out, bishop c4, opens up the queen side there. Okay, we'll move our pawn to d3 to defend the knight later. Then remove the knight there, and opponent makes a blunder, and so we get the fork. That's the fork. Fork is a double attack of the knight, attacking the queen and rook at the same time. So queen moves, and then we get the rook, and now we are leading in material. Hello, here's another way to win at chess games quickly by material advantage by the chess tactic called Skewer. Starts out with a4, a5, knight f3, knight c6, d3. White does a fianchetto there on the queen side. Fianchettos the bishop. Queen f6. That's the mistake of black, which you will see. Castles. He also castles, another mistake by black. Then here's the skewer. Skewer is we're attacking our queen and the rook at the same time, but the rook is directly on the same diagonal as the queen. So if the queen moves, then we will get the rook after. Yeah, So we capture the rook, and now we're leading in material. We have the material advantage. Hello chess fans, here is another way of winning chess games by material advantage. We're gonna use the chess tactic called discovered attack. So d4, d5, knight c3, a6, knight f3, bishop is out, preparing to castle, both kings castled, and black is trying to control the center there. White starts to attack, black captures in the center, white captures back, captures with his knight, and here it is. Here's the discovered attack. So our white bishop, the light squared bishop, will check the king, the black king, and so now the knight, the black knight on d4 is now discovered for the queen, the white queen, to capture it. So the discovered or the cover was uncovered. So now check. Black now has to move, and then we will capture the knight, and now we're again ahead of material. Hello, there is another way to win chess games quickly by material advantage through the tactic called entrapment. Starts with e4, e5, f3, knight c6, pawn to c4, then 4 knights are out, threatens the knight at c3, then we just threaten the bishop there, and if he doesn't capture and chooses to retreat by mistake, then we push the b4 pawn, and the bishop retreats further, and then right there, now the bishop is trapped, nowhere to go. So there, capture the bishop by entrapment. Nowhere to go for the bishop, and then now we're in lead of material. So this puzzle is checkmate with 2 bishops. White to move and mate in 4 moves. Okay. We see here that the black king can't move to the black square. So we first move our bishop here. to prevent the king from moving into the white square on a8. So the black king is forced to move only one move right here. Then we'll move our bishop to h6 on the side here. Okay, so now the king is forced to move at the end corner. Now our third move would be a check with the dark square bishop. Check. So then the last move for king, the black king, is on the white square. And then finally the mating move, the fourth move with the white bishop right here. Checkmate in 4 moves with 2 bishops. So this one is a chess puzzle. Checkmate with a queen and bishop, white to move, and mate in 4 moves. So the strategy here is to lock the king so that it can only move on the last rank. So to do that, we put the queen here on c7. So that way the king can only move one square, force move along the last rank there. So yeah, force move. Next move is to put our bishop right here on a6. So again, force move, the king can only move one square over here. Oh, sorry. Okay, that's the only move for the king. Then we will check here. And then last move for the king is to go back. And then finally the checkmate move of the queen. Checkmate in 4 moves. So this is a chess puzzle. White to move and mate in 3 moves. So for this, we see that the black piece, the black king, is already in the corner. We're gonna move the rook here. So black king is forced to move only one move, force move right here. Then the next move for the rook, second move, is here. So black king is forced to move back to the beginning, original position, and then finally mate in 3 moves. Right there. Yeah. Here's another endgame checkmate chess puzzle with a queen and knight. White to move and mate in 3 moves. So the first step is to lock the king on the last rank, and we can do that by just moving the queen on the 7th rank for our first move right there. So there's only one move for the king, force move. Then we're gonna move our knight in the center here. Okay, and then regardless of which square the black king moves, it's a checkmate. So it chooses to move here. Our checkmate would be right there. If it chooses to move there, checkmate would be right there. All right. Hope you're enjoying these puzzles. Here is another endgame checkmate with the queen and pawn. Chess puzzle, white to move, mate in 3 moves. So in here, we can see that the king is on the last rank. So we have to prevent the king from moving out of the last rank. To do that, move our queen here. Okay, so now the king can only move 1 square. It's a force move right here. Then second move would be to push our pawn. Right there. Then either way, either white moves of the black king will lead to checkmate. So chooses to go here. Sorry. Checkmate would be right there. And if it chooses to go there, checkmate would be right there. Checkmate with the queen and pawn. So now here is another endgame chess puzzle. Checkmate with king and queen. White to move, mate in 3 moves. So like the trick of putting a boundary to the black king to limit the movement on the last rank, can put our queen here. Okay, so the king can only move on only move 1 square. It's a force move right there. All we have to do now is get our king closer. Okay, and then black has choice of 2 moves, and either way it's a checkmate. So if it chooses to go here, then checkmate. And if it chooses on this side, checkmate will be there, just directly in front of the black king. Here is another chess puzzle. Checkmate with 2 rooks. White to move, mate in 4 moves. Commonly seen in endgames. So here the idea is to prevent the king from going up on the ranks. We need the king to push back to the last rank. To do that, we put a boundary here using a rook. Right there. So the king can only go horizontal or go back. So if it chooses to go horizontally, move there, and we're gonna put our second rook here, right, like so, and then now the king is forced to move back. Then the third move is a check with this rook, and finally the king goes back to the last rank. And so the mating move would be the rook at the end, all the way check. There's our fourth move, checkmate with 2 rooks. So this one is another puzzle, checkmate with the queen and rook, white to move and mate in 3 moves. So as we can see here, we can again apply the technique or trick of limiting the rank that the king can move. So first put a rook here on the 6th rank, so the king can only move on the 7th rank or 8th. And so check with our queen. Right there. So the king can only move the last rank. And then finally the mating move with the rook. Checkmate. Mate with a queen and rook. Here's another checkmate at the beginning of the game. Mate in 3 moves. E4, pawn to king 4. Bad opening for black. Another bad opening. with his pawn and then checkmate. Nowhere to go for the black king. Here's another quick checkmate at the beginning of the game. Okay. Starts with pawn to king 4. Pawn to king 4 for black. Get the queen out. Knight there. Supporting the king, knight. Then bishop attacking the f7 pawn. Then the last move is checkmate right there. Here's quick checkmates at the beginning of the game. 3 or 4 moves. Okay. Starts with the pawn to king 4. Black moves pawn to king 4. Queen to f3. Then black's knight. Queen knight to c6. Followed by a white bishop on to c4. Bishop. So black's bishop right there is out as well. So then we can checkmate by capturing the pawn on f7.